Hello, I'm Sanjay and welcome to my YouTube channel. The objective of this session is discussion about the constraints. So let's start with the definition. Constraints are used to specify the rules for the data in the table and are used to ensure the accuracy and the reliability of the data in the table. So basically we have the common constraints we use in SQL: foreign key constraint, default constraint, unique constraint and the check constraint. So let's start with the foreign key constraint first. So foreign key constraints ensure database integrity and the reject action that would destroy the links between the tables. So the syntax is alter table and table name, add constraint, here constraint name, foreign key, and you will mention the foreign key column, references the primary key table and the primary key column here. So let's take a practical example. So I have two tables, table employee and table department. Alright, so let's see the data first in these two tables. So this is the data. So in the first table, table employee ID, name, salary, department ID and gender, and the next table is table department ID and department. Alright guys, so basically if you see the table department ID column, that is primary key column, and in table employee department ID column, so this is the foreign key column. So both these columns are interrelated with each other. So the foreign key constraint will help to create the link between these two tables, and also as per definition, as we said rejects action that would destroy the links between the tables. If anything outside of this range, like 1 2 3 4, okay, so in the second table also primary key column 1 2 3 4, if outside of these values, if anybody would try to enter here, so it will rejects the value. Okay, so let's understand this first. Create the constraint. I just create, command completed successfully. Okay, so you will see here, just refresh the table first, and in this key folder, so you will see your foreign key constraint. So let's see. So here, okay, so now let's see, so what's the impact of this constraint. For example, I create one more row. Okay, so 1 2 3 and 4, so there are 4 departments. So in the next row I create some values. So guys, I enter here, for example 99. Alright, so guys, when I just enter here, so it will reject because of foreign key constraint. Why? Because I just violate the rule of foreign key constraint. So anything outside the range of 1 2 3 4, so I have just tried to enter 99, so it will reject the value. So that's why, so I'll have to enter only within the range. Okay, so that's the impact of this foreign key constraint. I hope you have just idea so why this constraint is useful. Okay, so guys, you can just drop the constraint by using this command like alter table, table employee, drop constraint and the constraint name. So now let's discuss about another constraint, that is default constraint. So this constraint is used to enter the default value if no value is specified. The syntax is alter table, table name, add constraint, constraint name, default value for existing column name. So let's take the practical example. Alright, so first of all, let's see the data in the two tables, table employee and table department. So we have 6 rows, and the columns ID, name, salary, department ID and gender. And the table department, we have 4 departments, 1 2 3 and 4. The 4 department, we don't know the name of the department, so that's why, so we have put it others. Okay, so here 1 2 and 3. So apart from that, if we are not aware about the department, so in that scenario what we will do, we will declare this 4 like other department. So guys, if I want to insert the value in the table employee, and I'm just keeping the table department ID column. See, insert into table employee ID, name, salary, gender, and I have just missed department ID and the values 7, Mike, 62, and male. So what will happen? So because of the default constraint, see, so the value will be updated automatically. So let's see. So first create the default constraint by using this statement. Okay, so alter table employee, add constraint, the name and the default value, that is 4, and for which column? Department ID. Okay, so let's execute this one. The command completed successfully, and where will you see this constraint? So let's refresh first. So look at this, df table employee and department ID. So all right, so now let's see, while creating the record, like as I told you, ID, name, salary, gender, so I'm skipping department ID. Okay, and 7, Mike, 6200, and male. Okay, so let's see what will happen. One row affected. So let's see the values in table employee. See guys, so by default the 4 is entered in this column. So in this way, default constraint is quite useful to enter the default value. Okay, and if you want to drop this constraint, alter table employee, drop constraint and constraint name. So this is the a statement to remove or to drop the constraint. So now discuss the new constraint, that is unique constraint. So it ensures all the values are different in a column and enforce the uniqueness of a column. Okay, the syntax is alter table name, add constraint, your constraint name, unique, and on which column you want to create this constraint. Okay, so let's take the practical example here. So I have the table department. So let's see the records first. Okay, so see guys, I have the 4 departments: HR, IT, account, and others. Okay, so if in case I want to create another department, like ID is 5, and by mistake I just enter the duplicate value like HR or IT, so in that scenario the unique constraint will protect you to update the duplicate values. Okay, so let's see how to create this constraint on the existing table or existing column. Alter table department, constraint name, and the unique on which department, that is department. So let's create this one. Command completed successfully. Now let's see the impact of this constraint. As I told you, because I just want to insert a new row with 5th ID, and department name is IT. So already this IT department exists in the table. So let's create this one. So see guys, I got the message, the violation of unique constraint, and cannot insert the duplicate key. So in this way, this constraint is useful. Okay, and if you want to just remove or drop this constraint, the same syntax like default constraint, alter table department, drop constraint, and your constraint name. So I hope this you just got understand about the unique constraint. So now the next constraint is check constraint. Ensures that a value in the column should meet the specific condition. Okay, the syntax for this constraint is alter table name, add constraint name, check, and here you will define the condition. All right, so let's take the practical example to create this one. So guys, I have this table head count. So first of all, let's see the data. I have 3 columns: ID, name, and age. If you see the age column, so here 45, 40, and 35. So guys, basically age, the age always should be more than 0, and age cannot be more than 150 years. So that's why, and sometimes it happens by mistake, so someone enters the age more than 150. So in that scenario, data integrity just fails. Okay, so that's why we use this check constraint. So let's create this one. I have this statement, alter table, and my table name is table head count, add constraint, my constraint name, and check. And what is my condition? The age should be greater than 0 and age less than should be 150. So let's create this one. Command completed successfully. Okay, so let's select the data once again. Okay, so we have 3 records. So let's create one more record. Then these values are, for Rajiv, and I'm just trying to insert the value 156 for the age column. So let's see if this value will be inserted or not. So see guys, what's the message? The insert statement conflicted with the check constraint. Okay, the conflict occurred in the database. So that's why this constraint is protecting our range, because this is the range 0 to 150. So only between the range the value is allowed in the age column. So that's why I'll have to enter between the range. So for example 56. Now let's see if it will let the value to be inserted or not. One row affected. So now let's see the data. So see guys, so now the data is available. Okay, so in this way we create this constraint, and to drop the constraint, same process, alter table, your table name, and drop constraint, and check your whatever the name of this constraint. So now guys, we are done with our topic, that is constraint. So we discussed here the definition of the constraint and the common constraint which we have: foreign key constraint, default constraint, unique, and check. So thank you very much.